Good morning, dear colleagues. We're starting a series of press briefings in the Ukrainian Crisis Media Center. Our first topic is a program about providing drones for every company. This topic is already realized by the Aerorozvidka, a reconnaissance project. Talking will be to Volodymyr Kochetkov-Sukach and Ivan Dovgal, who is director of IT Academy STEP Kiev branch. Good morning. Good morning. A reconnaissance Aerorozvidka is a volunteer project that we started together with a group of enthusiasts, people who are professionally or in an amateur but still very professionally way are engaged with the small aviation. And first of all, for us, it was important to find ways to provide an opportunity to use drones in the army, in volunteer battalions, in the border guard service. Immediately, we have by chance got to know that it was more than once that the border guards and some army brigades got as presents a very usual quadricopter from supermarkets, Phantom Vision, and they have not used it because the indicators that technical characteristics of those drones after supermarket are rather weak. Well, it was flying for 300 to 500 meters at a distance of, or at the height of 300 to 500 meters, and the image that it was sending was not sufficient to use in combat actions conditions. So we produced a land-based station with reinforcing antennas and some other interfaces additionally, so that we could see better photos and videos. We painted it in a color that would not be spotted easily. We conducted a lot of tests near Kiev. We tested different antennas, different equipment, and then we went to ATO, Anti-Terrorist Operation Zone, and worked there for a week next to Luhansk, in the vicinity of Metalist, Hryshuvate, Novosvitlivka, and Krasny Yar. And at the moment, we just tried to understand whether there is some use of this modernized quadricopter that flies at the height of 1,500 meters, whether it is useful in combat action. And we tried to understand where should we move further, and we found out that it does provide help, very specific help, when the intelligence units are moving or a detachment is moving. If they see a kilometer ahead from above, from a side, it is much more comfortable for the fighters and commanders. And secondly, if there's armored vehicles like APCs and tanks that work very good from the distance of 1.5 to 2 kilometers, that pose a threat to detachments of 30 to 50 people, we can show where they are in the ambush, and so the commanders can adopt decisions. And now Ivan will speak. Hello, I am Ivan Dovgal, director of the Kiev branch of the Computer Academy. The task put ahead by the military and Aerorozvidka project to us. You know, I opened a laboratory of drones in our academy. I have been engaged in aviation modeling since my childhood. I know what this is. Looking at what's happening in Ukraine, every second more or less established aviation modelists started to engage in drones for the army, and I saw on Facebook that they were asking the prices for their models starting from $15,000 and up to the 400,000 hryvnia for the so-called people's drone, for the machine that doesn't fly yet. So we decided to use the cheapest and the most standard devices. The entire modernization costs $400 to $500, and it fits the needs of air reconnaissance very well. They work with 5 of our detachments on the front line, and they send information in the radius of 1.5 to 2 kilometers, which is enough for the commander to decide whether to send reinforcements or to shell the territory that they surveyed. And I think that Ukraine should first of all look at the optimization of all the volunteer purchases so that that money does not go in vain. This is what Aerorozvidka works. We have made a device. Not a single kopeck is used for the salary or for royalties. We pay our guys ourselves, and you know, the entire device costs a bit more than $2,000, while the drones that do not fly at the moment cost $15,000 to $20,000. I think that we all should engage in helping the country, but not in stuffing the wallets. This is the task of Aerorozvidka. At the moment, we are working on a bigger and more capable devices that will be not on the level of a company, but on the level of a battalion or brigade. They will be equipped by heat visors and cameras with a better quality that will increase the image. I hope that we will accomplish this task within the next 2 weeks. We have traversed more than halfway, but there is another issue. In this case, we have a basis, a copter that is already well done, that is being produced in industrial conditions. What we will be doing, what we will be producing, will require more time to finalize technical details, and at first this will be a thing that a trained pilot could use. With this copter, any fighter can learn how to do basic things within a day, and by the way, it comes back home on itself. So at the moment we're working on more complicated things, but we understand that more complicated things will come later, not tomorrow even. And today it is very topical, urgent that the fighters have something in their hands to use every day. Can we call this a know-how of sorts? Yes, we can call it so, because in reality, if we look globally in the IT industry, Very often the situation is used when they take a product that everybody knows well that it works normally. It's being used for other tasks with some additional peripheral things, because you need years and millions of money for longer tests. But even now in IT industry, they are looking for simple, adequate, and cheap solutions. I want to add from myself that at the front line and in the army in general, they need pilots of copters. Of course, there's a lot of benefactors who donate money and who donate drones, and they are often just lie idly there because there are no pilots for them. There's a laboratory of the Computer Academy Shag Krok in our project, and we train free of charge those people who would want to pilot those drones. How many those devices have you already made, and how many companies have got them, and what's the end price? 4 devices went to different groups. I mean 4 that you made, and we are preparing 2 more for Aidar battalion. They will go there, and we constantly talk to people. I think that almost every day something will go somewhere. And we are looking at $2,200, $2,300, depending on nuances, on specific features. If we compare, for instance, how much a body armor set works, $500 to $600, you know, they already have body armor in the army, which is very good, that they are more or less supplied with them. So now it's another stage. If we look from the point of view of combat actions conditions, if the reconnaissance and intelligence works well, then probably body armor set is not as important, because by our fire we have already averted some actions of the enemy. So it's important now to go farther. We need heat visors badly, because it's almost autumn now. There won't be any green zone, and we want to have this heat visor on the copter as well, and see the enemy from a great distance. How many do you need for the anti-terrorist operation at all? Thousands. Any questions from the audience? Hello? You said that. Have you tested it in bad weather conditions during rain or otherwise? It was not a test, it was a task. We needed to make a reconnaissance of Anivka village next to Luhansk airport, the village where there's no enemy force. They are a bit farther at some mines, and we had to understand whether there are some armored vehicles or other forces in the village. And we launched our drones. There was a very strong wind. Together with us was a fighter from Aidar battalion, who is a pilot of helicopter by specialty. He said that the wind was the velocity of the speed of our drone was 12 meters per second, and it came back normally. In Hreshuvata, when it was coming back from the reconnaissance, the rain started, and we had the film of the drops that were passing past it. Of course, it is not desirable, but this is not critical, and this is important. Another question.
drones. I was just curious if you've worked with that, and then also what feedback you've gotten from people in the field, what they thought was useful, what they wanted improved.
Питання перше, подібна програма реалізовується вже Київською політехнікою, чи ви з ними співпрацюєте? Це перше питання. І друге запитання, які враження, яка оцінка цих безпілотників бійцями в зоні АТО?
Значить, з точки зору КПІ,
As far as Kiev Polytechnic is concerned, we heard this information, but I cannot comment because I don't know. But it is very important now that everybody who is engaged in those issues, for instance, we talk to people from Dnipropetrovsk, it is very important that people talk about this, that they show this so that to avoid mistakes. This is not the issue of commerce now, and there is no commercial secret in this. We are ready to show all the equipment that we use, tell the price and give technical parameters. The question is that it should move forward very fast. As far as fighters and commanders are concerned, they are very much satisfied. That's why they asked us to provide the drones, and we are preparing them, and they will go there very soon. So at the moment, the command understands very well that we can dream for a long time, but we still have to have something in our hands, because battalion commanders together, we worked with Sergei Melnichuk, who commands Aidar battalion. He was asking us, go to this village, to that village, because people have to move. There's shelling from there. We have to have a look at where from they are firing, and we were doing this. Other alternative energy sources for the copter. You know, the battalions are now more or less provided with electricity generators, so electricity is rather comfortable. This is fast. The battery is charged within an hour, and if you mean like wind and sun and the rest, this copter, in spite of its small size, consumes almost 50 ampere volt when it is launched. So you understand that it is very hard to charge this battery with a solar battery, for instance. Sometimes for one combat task we have to make 3 or 4 flights, so you'll have to charge it for 10 or 15 hours if you use alternative sources of energy. How much time the production of one drone takes? Not the production, but the preparation. It takes 2 or 3 days to prepare such a drone. Do you plan to involve Ukrainian enterprises to produce thousands of them, as you say, and the time is critical now? The major problem is that today we do not have a customer, and the Ministry of Defense should run after us. And some of the units of intelligence are already doing this, and we are cooperating with them. But those are intelligence units that have combat tasks, for instance, to launch intelligence, but they do not have money, because the decision about money is adopted at a very different level. This is not the Department of Intelligence, but I would say a deputy minister. And this is the main problem. We showed this to our bodyguards, and we gave them all the materials. They liked it very much, but they said at once, guys, if you want us to buy it, we won't even meet you. And this is the problem that is not being solved at the moment. If we now come and say to tell any enterprise from the defense industry, and we know when very many engineers and directors, we're talking to them and we're consulting with them, and they consult us free of charge. But if we come and tell them, let's make drones, they will say, where's the money? So it is being financed by volunteers at the moment, yes, completely, and private persons.
Forces in the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Have you had any consulting or training from the U.S. about how to best incorporate this technology on the battlefield?
Безпілотники відіграли дуже важливу роль для американських збройних сил під час війни в Афганістані і Іраку. Чи консультувалися ви з представниками американських збройних сил от щодо реалізації такого проекту тут?
Ми дивилися.
We watched American blockbusters. We would like very much to get help, but as you see, apart from the words that we are on a correct way, we don't see any real help. We would like very much the US to do some trainings for us and to share some technology with us. I am very sure that we will be glad to gather people to learn from Americans and to get some help. Thank you very, very much for such a great thing that you are doing. We hope that every company will really get a drone, and within 5 minutes will